Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Highland Curling Club in Regina and our continuing coverage of the Vaderstad Saskatchewan Super Series. Warren Woods along with Lyle Myers, and happy to be calling curling once again with my old friend from the Global Tankard days. Lyle and I did this for some 20 years, calling the Tankards, and had a lot of fun doing that. And great to be with you again, Lyle. It's safe to say, though, I think since those days, the game has changed a little bit.
Well, I think so. And what we've seen in the first game was the amount of great shots was ridiculous. But the other thing that would have been striking is the fact that we've seen more rocks in the house in one end than we used to see in the whole tankard. And but it is wonderful. I love the fact that the age of these players is young. The future is so bright for Saskatchewan curling right now. And this series has certainly highlighted those teams.
Well, we are in a COVID age, and every sport has had to adapt to the changing environment now, and curling is no exception. And that's really the reason why this Super Series was put together. Matt and your son Kirk put a lot of work into organizing this bonspiel, but it really was a chance to get everybody together and get some games in, at least.
Yeah, you start to, I think from them you could sense they wanted to get going, and the season's getting away, and you just don't know where to turn next. And I don't think, this event will help them, and they're still struggling to try to figure out what's next. But it was very nice to see some of their sponsors jump in here and help them out, find their way through this, and get something going, and really make sure that Saskatchewan curling doesn't lag too far behind here with this. So I think it's accomplishing all the things it's set out to be. Some of the teams out here that haven't even won yet, I watch them, they're playing great, and I go first spiel of the year, and so there's a lot of pent-up energy and excitement around the game, and it's on display here this weekend.
Yeah, there are a lot of protocols in place for curling, as there are for all other sports, but one of them, and in hockey and many others, there's no interprovincial travel permitted, at least at this stage. So the 5 best teams in the province are really together right now to get an opportunity to get some early competition, and who knows, this could be key down the line.
I think it is. It's an opportunity for them to get started. I am reluctant to say, Warren, that the best 5 teams, because there's another 5 that are just as good that aren't playing here yet, but we've got some nice depth. We've got some nice group of young players that are working to getting better, and I'm actually looking forward to the season. And though I want to see them get out there and play at the top level against some of the super big name ranks, this is a great place to start.
Well, our feature game tonight has Matt Dunstone, the defending provincial champion, third-place finisher at the Tim Hortons Brier last year, up against Shaun Meachem, another good team from Saskatoon. Now, both these teams have qualified for the playoffs. Ryan Kleider has actually finished first. He is guaranteed first place, although he is on the ice again tonight. But here's a young junior team, just out of junior, and making its mark. So Meachem and Dunstone actually playing for second place tonight.
That's it, and certainly we wouldn't have thought that coming in. I think the Kleider team was one of those things that's a bit of an unknown, and I always compare it now to the World Series where there's a pitcher comes out of the bullpen that the guys aren't knowing what's coming at them. Well, I'll tell you what's coming at them. It's a lot of great shots. Those kids weren't lucky. They have been out shooting everybody all the way through so far.
Well, we are just underway here, and it is, again, Matt Dunstone and Shaun Meachem going at it. Second place on the line. So, there's no playoff position at stake in this game. But what you want to be able to do, at least, is stay sharp, stay focused, and try and improve every time out. And I'm sure that's what these guys have been talking about prior to the game. I
think so. They'll be playing again tomorrow morning in the semifinal, same 2 teams. Winner of this will have a hammer, and in an 8-end game, the hammer is a big deal. So it's an important game. It's also about, as we talk about when you're playing inside of your province, it's about letting the other guy know how good you are, because when it comes play-down time, a little bit of intimidation certainly doesn't hurt.
Well, Matt Dunstone's rink won the draw to the button. That was going to be the determining factor as far as tiebreakers were concerned, were the stats, the overall stats, who was best with the draw to the button. Turns out those weren't needed now because with the playoff positions are known. But Dunstone has hammer. He will be throwing the blue rocks And already we've got a couple of rocks behind the center line guard. So good start to this one.
Yeah, it is. I think the ice really lends well to this. You can see there's a lot of movement towards the center line, and guys have really been sharp in terms of making those shots.
Shaun Meachem's team consists of third Brady Sharback, who's a pretty good player, two-time junior champion out of Saskatoon. Braden Stewart is at second. Jared Latos is at lead. And for Matt Dunstone, he's got Braden Muscowie at third. The change is at second with this team. Catlin Schneider, who was second last year, was dropped. He's playing for Colton Flash now. Kirk Myers, you've had a little bit of history with him over the years. Lyle's boy Kirk is at second, and Dustin Kidby is the lead, and that's a strong lineup.
That is a really good team. They just showed a little weakness there. They burned a stone, but I think that's part of that is about again they're learning to work together, and they snuck a burnt one in there, and
they're having a chuckle about it too.
Yeah.
Again, that's part of the when you have a new team together and just getting some chemistry going. And I think there's probably a lot of, since the pressure's off in this game. Let's face it.
Yes.
I think they're probably playing for who gets the hammer in the semifinal tomorrow.
Right.
These two teams will meet again.
I think particularly for I shouldn't say just for the Dunstone team. I think for all the teams, it's still about the fact that Shaun has got the same group back again as last year. They probably have worked on some things through the course of a few years, but I think in the case of Dunstone, I presume they have a plan for this game, understanding it's not sudden death. It's they will be playing in the playoffs tomorrow. They may be working on a certain strategy to try to figure out how they score two on the corners, or how the corner game is going to work. Are we going to tick centers? Let's try some things and try to figure out a game plan, which they'll have to develop around the strengths of the team.
Yes, there may not be a whole lot of stake, but what you want to be able to do is you still want to go out there to win.
Yes.
And you still want to be able to grab as much confidence as you can heading into the season.
Yeah, I think that's what they're out here for, is to go out there and sharpen up and develop those skills and become better and better. And the one thing I will warn these two teams about would be, you better get out there, you better make all your shots, because I'll tell you what, the team you're going to play in the final, whoever wins the semifinal, better be ready to go, because that young Kleider team is for real.
Rylan Kleider is 3-0 up against Cody Hartung tonight on the other sheet, but Kleider has clinched first place, but he would love to go undefeated, but he knows he's going to be in the final, as he has beaten both these teams that are here on sheet one. So he's going to finish first. And for a team that's just out of junior, first year out of junior, they put on quite a show.
Yeah, I think too. I know they know how to play. I've seen them play in the Canadian juniors. I believe they've won it for Saskatchewan 4 times. I mean, we know how good they are. But they've actually found another gear here this weekend so far, and that's it. It'll be interesting if you can maintain that for the course of the season, or whether if you can keep that going. I think that'll be the question. And I think I just heard some of the teams talking already that are ready to play them. They're talking about what they feel like they may not be as good at, because we're not going to fall into that trap again. So they're going to try to find some opportunities to see if they're as good at other shots as they are at some of the shots they were making so far here.
Well, when you have a young team like that, they show no fear, right, at that age. And they're certainly showing none of that. They're not intimidated whatsoever by going up against some of the big boys here. Including when you go up against a defending provincial champion like they did last night and handle them the way they did, that's going to raise a few eyebrows.
Yeah, it is, and they didn't today. They beat Colton Flash again, and we got to watch the end of that game. And anyone who's watching the stream seen. They made a lot of really good shots, and everything looked very comfortable. It wasn't high tension, trying to work it into the right spot at the last second. They knew it was where it was going, and they put it there. And right now, they're and again, it's pretty early. If you can maintain this momentum from October till February, good for you. But there's going to be some up and downs in the season for them too, I'm sure.
Well, off to a fantastic start, no question about that. Meanwhile, in this game here, this is Brady Sharback with the hit. Roll over to the back of the forefoot. Dunstone still lying 1 there, top of the button. And they are buried behind a center line guard.
Yeah, I'm surprised that based on the fact that Shaun was hitting the outside one, that Matty wouldn't try to hit and roll out there and keep the play out there and then draw the 4-foot for his deuce. But this is actually a play for 3 if he can get underneath, and I think that's where they're going right now. And again, I think Matt Dunstone's all about aggression and scoring points, so that's the makeup of the man for sure.
The Dunstone team, as mentioned, has made 1 change at the second position with Kirk Myers coming on board. It's a change of course, but it's not a change that should be too much of a. They should be fairly comfortable with this since Kirk and Braden Muscowie have played together for many years. They played together in junior. They know each other very well, so it's just a matter of getting, I guess, that terminology down, the chemistry down, and just feeling comfortable again with each other.
Right, I think that's very true, Warren. It's not only even we talk about the times that they played together, but they've also played a lot of years against each other, and I kind of laughed because each of them thought you could tell they were always trying to work each other out there, and I found that always kind of interesting because I've heard both of them say this. Who is your major competitor? And when they played together, they used to highlight that they were Kirk would say Braden was my competitor, and Braden would say Kirk was my competitor when they talked about it, and so that as the teams went their own way, they've always played well together and played well against each other. So a good mix, and certainly Matt and Kirk in this particular role. Kirk played second for Matty the last year that Steve Laycock ran the team, right. Skipped the team, and Matty threw last. So they all know each other pretty well. Kirk also, it was with Braden when they came out of juniors. Braden skipped and Kirk played third, and DJ and Dustin in their first provincials out of juniors also played together. So again, everybody is familiar with everybody. But to be the best in the world, which is ultimately the goal, I mean, they have to find all the little things, the little touch points which make each other better. That's the secret of the game.
And hence the importance of this spiel, even though it's the middle of October. But as we mentioned, there are travel restrictions. It's not that easy to play against top-notch competition these days. So that's what this event allows these teams to do, is to get some ice, get some competition, and some play for a little cash as well, which never hurts. But I think the main goal is to just try to come together as teams.
Correct, yeah. This is, Shaun could hit the open one and give up his deuce, but if he makes this well, he might be in a position to steal a little.
Drives that guard by, and
I actually think he might have been fortunate that he just didn't break that freeze off, but now Matt's got to try to figure out a way to get 3.
But I don't want to throw it super hard and just spill it.
Yeah, no. I mean, it came down to it. Pardon? Yeah, it definitely wasn't. I know that it probably was, but it definitely wasn't up on my end. Yeah. I'm not saying that they were wrong, but by the time I was this end, it was basically board. You hit that, and it basically just went over there. And that's what happened. I think
you can see there if Shaun just would have touched that Yellowstone and bumped that freeze off of there, it'd been a nose hit to sit 3. So even though he was really close, when he did miss it, it's fortunate I think that he didn't quite touch it.
Yeah, we'll have to see. No, we'll have to see. Try to see what he does.
Or we could try and get Christmas tree.
okay, there's the call. You see bite of that 4-foot, get a piece of that 4-foot on the intern side.
He's okay on the right line. Yep, that's the way. Yeah, well, backboard's okay on the right line too.
See there, they know what Shaun's shot will be to hit the stone on top 4, and he wants to get this one in a position that when he does hit that, it'll be an open draw for 2.
Come into here, I don't think it's terrible, or come into here. Just thinking with here.
Well, now are they going to change their minds?
You can't get shot. Even if you don't freeze, not the end of the world. I think best is separation, like a top 12, top 8. You gotta be really careful. Like he might just have to guard it and let us draw for 2.
Well, now they're going to. This is the one thing we did see this afternoon. They did take a lot of time to try and figure out some shots here, and if they were on a clock, they would have been in some deep trouble. So this is one of those things that they have to figure out as well.
Yeah, they'll be forced to play this game faster. And again, right now they're fortunate there is no clock, and they'll be able to work their way through this. But I like this call. I did the other one's too difficult. You're drawing to a dot, so.
Edge seems like
How difficult is that when you have your mind set up on one shot, and then all of a sudden now you've got to refocus and concentrate on another one?
I think it can be a challenge, but the one thing Matt did do was go halfway down, reset again, and rethink his way through it. So I think that's don't change your mind in the hack and just change the shot. He went down, cleared that shot from his mind, went to talk through what this needed to be, and are going at it with the other turn. I think that's the big thing, is that you have to break from your last shot. One thing I like about this shot is that I think the window's a little bit wider. There's a few different places you can put it.
If he gets the freeze in there, it's fine, right? We just missed that freeze.
Mine's good. More separation, the better. Let it work. Okay, let it work. Green. Okay. Okay. Separation is better. Perfect.
Yep, I like that shot. I think.
Yeah, is there any fear?
Right. And then, but then we're front.
Now Shaun will play that same shot that Matt was going to, and he might be able to catch a corner of the button, but Matt will be able to come down and make a shot, make a pass at it for 2, and it's a pretty tough shot. So I think he made a good choice in where he set that up.
All right, Shaun Meachem, who has championship experience, went to the Brier with Adam Casey's team a few years back, representing the Highland here in Regina.
I believe 2017.
Yeah.
I've always said one of the really good shooters we've got in the province. I just wish for Shaun's sake that he had just a little more time to commit to the game. I think he's good with the amount of time he spends at it. If he just had a little bit more, he'd even be one of the top players in the world.
Well, that is an issue for a lot of people. If you can't, devote a lot of time, or as much, you have to. It's a full-time job now to get to that top level.
Absolutely is. It's the amount of time, effort, and resources that you have to invest in it. It is significant, and that's the part that I think sometimes when people, even give some of the what I call the semi-pro teams that are out there making. No one understands the amount of time and effort that becomes your life. I mean, you need to find a part-time job to pay the rent, but it is a major undertaking, and I think anybody that is involved with any team at that level understands that.
So it looks like Dunstone's just going to draw for his pair.
I'm a little surprised that he doesn't follow Shaun. If he was just a touch heavy, I think he'd come up against it. So he's going cold. They probably have a better feel for what this side of the sheet is my assumption.
So an out-turn draw for a pair, but he's got to get a good chunk of that 4-foot. Real good.
And that's why he played that turn.
Maybe a problem for us, not for him.
That's exactly. Didn't need the help.
No. Nice out-turn draw for a pair, and Matt Dunstone takes advantage of hammer in the first end to get his deuce and has the 2-0 lead heading to end number 2. This is the Vaderstad Saskatchewan Super Series presented by Calidon Leasing here on the Curling Zone.
Core Grain, we strive to be the most qualified grain storage and grain conditioning experts in Canada. Visit us today at coregrain.ca. Core Grain, doing the right thing for your farm.
Warren Woods, Lyle Myers with you here at the Highland Curling Club in the Saskatchewan Super Series. Game between Shaun Meachem of Saskatoon and Matt Dunstone's rink, the defending champions from the host club here in Regina. And right now, Dunstone with the 2-0 lead after a big deuce in the first end. Nice draw to the 4-foot with the out turn. Got that deuce on the board. So now Meachem will try and respond here as he counters the center line guard with a corner.
Really, the way Matty, and for that matter, Shaun played that end, it was exactly textbook. It was top 4, freeze, and that kind of held throughout the end, and never had real opportunity. Shaun might have been able to make survive with a run back. With some danger, if he just taps it a little bit or catches it on the corner, there was a potential for 3. But if he makes it really good, he puts himself in a position to force it. If he has Matty miss a last stone, he could have stole a couple points. But it was a really well-curled first end.
So now Dustin Kidby attempts to come around that center guard. He's looking pretty good. Top 8 foot, buried. Good shot.
He's been there all day. His game this morning, too, was that way, too. Great rock positioning from Dusty.
It's always good, but it's nice. I like this.
Now you may notice, if you're a curler and you've been paying attention to the safety protocols that have been in place by Curl Canada and many of the other health authorities in many jurisdictions, most teams can only play with 1 sweeper. You notice that these teams out here are going with 2, and it's because basically that they're already in the bubble. So they have been allowed to go with 2 sweepers in that instance.
I think it makes absolute sense if you think about the teams today. I mean, they drive they got a couple hours down the road to drive to the rink together in a vehicle. They room together. They eat together. They practice together. They spend so much time together that this is just an extension to it, and I think it makes absolute sense. It's different for a club curler that comes in on a Monday and we meet with your team once a week, but these guys are together all the time, so this is just an extension to that, and they're absolutely cognizant of the risks and don't want to take any chances. But this just makes we're gonna play this, and I think this just makes sense. So everybody's really careful. Safety is still a priority for sure, and you can see that everybody's aware of that, and they're doing the right things, I think, right now.
And wearing the masks where they're supposed to be wearing them down in the foyer, and I've noticed even when they come upstairs, they're wearing the masks as well. So. It's still safety first, but under the conditions, they are able to go with 2 sweepers.
Right.
You will also notice that when rocks are heavy, that the opposing skips cannot touch that stone once it hits behind the tee line as normal. Again, that's because of the safety protocols that are in place. They don't want a crowded house back there. And as a result, a lot of times opposing skips are helpless when there's stones that appear to be going out of the house, and they can't do much to help it. Oh. They can't do anything to help it.
And you know what? That little bit of brushing in the last foot past the tee line, I'm not sure it ever made any difference. It was just one of those things.
Especially with the skippers back there that haven't been known to be that great sweepers anyway.
Couldn't agree with you more. So I'm not even sure that isn't a good rule long term, because I think of all the confrontation that I've had in curling, and there's been a little. But a lot of it originated at the tee line where guys were jockeying, and it's more about. I wouldn't call it intimidation. It was more about showing the other guy that I'll take my spot. You're not going to push me around. And you always found that at the tee line. That was that kind of Josh, I guess, just kind of marking your territory type of thing back there. So I don't think it's changed a whole lot. It feels uncomfortable watching that agonizing slow roll out of the house when it goes out by an inch, where you just want to get in there and help it. But as a rule, I don't think it'll influence the game a whole lot.
Yeah, all the opposing skips can do is give it a little body English and try and help it out that way. But
and we've seen a lot of that, actually. It's like I say, just agony watching it.
You weren't down for sure.
Looks like Kirk Myers has been called to play another guard out front and try and block that hole.
He's going to be a little heavy. As long as he gets inside of it, he's all right.
Yeah, probably.
Worked out well as he gets to the inside of that yellow stone top 12-foot.
We can go there.
I think that might have turned out a little better, actually, than actually just the guard in the pocket there. Because if the guard was in the pocket, you can run it back blue onto yellow. This time, there's really not much there. Shaun just looking for an opportunity to open up the center line here.
Whoops. Unfortunately, Braden Stewart misses everything.
That's not good.
How much do you got of this?
One way to say it.
Try to get a point here.
I'm trying.
Yeah, no, we used to miss.
Just heard
We had to rip that.
Brady Sharbuck says, that's not very good.
Well, we need to get a point, and Shaun goes, we're trying. It's funny how a complete miss like that puts both teams into a sort of a state of flux where they go, I don't know what to do. This isn't what was supposed to happen, and I've got no real clear plan for this.
We just got to make sure that you got a shot for the point.
Wait a minute, you can. Line's good. Through. Let it work if you can. Gotta curl. Stay high as you can on this line.
You could just see it, like it just kept going. You're just like, no, please no, please no, please stop, please stop. Oh. That's so ugly.
Not sure he wanted to be touching that stone, did he?
I don't think so. I think actually Shaun probably can rip that a little bit on the outside and come back and maybe make some more contact.
And might keep our blues. It's over.
Pretty much on the nose, just a millimeter high.
I think he's thinking it'll come back. It'll come back straight and contact either the blue or the yellow stone. And that would be very unfortunate for for Braden. But may have got it just in the wrong spot. Yep.
All right, well, the Dunstone team still lying the 1, top of the 8-foot. Remember, Meachem has last rock here in the second.
I guess. Would have moved that blue more, but it's fine. Better than it was.
That shot gets Meachem out of a world of trouble if that's even anywhere out front. Still nothing good for a shot or two, but now that allowed him to take away, really move 3 stones, and now Matt has to go to hit that one on top of ring. And that opens up a shot after that for Shaun Meachem to play a hit and roll behind either one of those corners.
That calling for the roll behind that blue corner guard just peeks out the other side. Still Dunstone line 2.
No, I was saying it was maybe a little light. It just, Braden, it just tapped it out, just got to the board, so.
I think so. Not bad. That's fine. Yeah. Same as mine. You can roll it there and be. That's what I want. Still giving him that. Board? Yeah. Just board. Okay.
You certainly didn't want to jam that stone, Braden, so they played it very careful, stayed on the high side of it. But by rolling underneath there, if Meachem rolls underneath there, it's like it's double guarded right now, and certainly brings 2, perhaps 3 into play.
Brady Sharback with the delivery.
May have
Get an inside
overswept
roll
that
here.
a little.
Yeah.
It happens. I was kind of wanting the same roll. I just didn't want to lose it. We've done that so many times. And then they just snap.
Yeah,
They're just trying to wait a little bit longer to say
it happens.
We've talked quite a bit, Warren, about how good the ice is, and I can't help but really give it a little extra praise in that if you don't throw it real good, it's not a give me. If you start it a little bit, it'll curl for you. If you bring it back, it'll sit. And so it's all about lots of movement. Up weight will stray. Your weight is very sensitive, but also on the release a little bit too. So yes, you could make all the shots, but you need to throw them well to make all those shots.
So making sure that you get the proper rotation
Yep.
on your stones.
Right weight and right release, and you're going to get really good results.
First stone for Matt Dunstone here in the second end.
You have to take more ice than that.
Yep.
Just keep that in mind.
Yeah, I didn't.
Should be by the guard. Now, where will he roll? Oh, that's pretty nice. Behind the 2 corners.
Nice shot.
Attaboy. Nice throw.
You know, we saw at the Brier last year, and we saw at the Grand Slam the kind of big weight, run back doubles, triples that Matt Dunstone can play, but he can also play a little finesse game as well.
Yeah, he's real good at that as well. I mean, we sometimes forget Matt is a young man. I have to guess. I'm not exactly sure. I'm thinking he's probably in that 24-ish, 25-ish range, and he's been. He's won a lot of stuff. He's played against a lot of men's teams already. He's been He's been through Olympic trials with Kirk and Dallin and Stevie, and he was not out of place there for. And I always call it we in terms of changing our team. When we signed him, he was playing second, which wasn't his position. He hadn't swept for years, and we just went right into super competitive stuff. So we made that change for him to throw last stones, and in hindsight, he never once complained or said one thing about it. But I do, and which really strikes me about the nature of him, he just did his job, and I think of it now in hindsight, I don't think we're very fair to what we did to Matt there. I mean, we just put him right in the fire, and he just said, I'll just take that, and he never flinched. And so I have always found that as something that, in hindsight, I know why we did it. It was just our only opportunity to potentially, we had to get him on fire, the way we seen last year at the Brier. But it was an awful tough situation for a young player, and he did an amazing job with it.
Well, Shaun, Meachem's come around attempt, comes up light, racked on the guard.
Yeah,
So now, golden opportunity for Matt Dunstone to maybe get a steal here.
Grabbed or if it's caught in a flat spot. I was expecting it to curl, and the curl just was way more than I was expecting. Lost all the weight too.
Yeah, I heard Meachem say he was kind of surprised by the weight. Might have caught a flat spot there. And
could have I thought you were definitely a hair tight, but like even out of your hand where that rock was, I was happy with where it was. Right.
Just trying to find a spot that makes this shot as hard as it can. As it is, it's going to be a tough one.
I don't know if it's like. The things they'll have so much spin. It's going to have the long spin.
Well, he does have that raise on that yellow stone up there. Are they looking at perhaps covering that up?
I don't think there's a tougher shot in the game than a tap to the forefoot or that because you just don't know how far the stone that you hit is gonna go. It changes. It's a shot that line is a challenge because that weight is something you don't see a lot of. You either throw a draw weight or you throw a tap out. So it becomes line, weight, and how much though that rock is froze down. So all of those factors make a tap to the forefoot. It's probably as tough a shot as there is in the game. And there brings even a degree of luck or unluck in terms of how much that rock is froze down.
It wasn't like curling early. On my first one, did we have to hit it a bit thinner? Shoot that one off?
Yeah, we hit a little bit higher and a little bit
I actually thought that's right where you wanted it.
It was.
Yeah.
Thought it would shoot farther.
I think we've lost their mics.
We have, and they seem to talk lots.
Lips are flapping, but I don't hear nothing.
Oh, very interesting.
And the one was slightly ahead, like I thought it was.
Must feel that situation out front is pretty good.
That was my first good feel of the week.
And I understand the thought process there. There's going to be a tap no matter what, so you can't take it all away. So let's throw another one in there. If he happens to miss it, instead of getting two, we'll get three.
What do you want for
Okay.
the base? Edge base? Three-quarters ace?
At Dunstone with the 2-0 lead here in the second end without last rock and in a position to put even more pressure on Shaun Meachem.
Yeah, I'd be putting huge pressure on him with this shot. He wraps it around, taps it a little.
Or you just go
You know, that's really good weight. It's, you know, when you're throwing out to the wings like that, second end, you haven't been throwing anything out there, and to know what that is.
Yep. I'm with you there, Warren. It's you don't know what you're in for, and again, might speak to how great the ice is. any shot is makeable. I think I always love that type of shot when I can play it where I'm not in big trouble, because somewhere along the line in an event that you're going to win, you may have to go out there to save the game. And now they've done it once, so they may be able to lean on that somewhere tomorrow in the playoffs. And if they don't, nothing lost. But I love to throw that one, as I call, for free and really go to school on it.
So it looks like a little double bump here to try and save the end for Shaun Meachem. This is against 3.
I think he looks awful hot, but if he only catches a small portion of that, he might be all right.
Well, this is pretty darn good. Yeah. Nice little double bump to the tee line, 4 foot, and a clutch shot from Shaun Meachem right there to save the end, pick up his single point, and now trails 2-1. Last rock going to Matt Dunstone in end number 3. This is the Vaderstad Saskatchewan Super Series, presented by Calidon Leasing on the Curling Zone.
Wow.
Atlas Apex Roofing. The most knowledgeable, the most experienced, the most trusted name in the business. Atlas Apex, the top choice for industrial, commercial, and institutional roofing. Atlas Apex specializes in re-roofing, restoration, full-service maintenance, and emergency repairs. Customer service is our top priority, taking care of our clients in a safe, efficient, and timely manner from coast to coast.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience. Find us at ddgregina.com.
Shaun Meachem there to save the end and perhaps save the game. That little double bump against 3, and he stays in it. Down 2-1 now, starting the third end of play and last rock back to Matt Dunstone.
No question about that. I talked about how difficult it is. That is a shot that you can't say enough about it. I have to tell you, as difficult as it is, I sometimes think when you make it, you almost feel a little fortunate. But you got to get it close, and you got to hope things line up, and he did that. And it actually, like I say, Shaun is one of those guys that can make those shots. He is one of the top end shooters in this game.
Your weight's pretty nice if you're by.
I always find him kind of relaxing. I think he's probably good for his young team. He doesn't get too excited about things. There might be a lot of things going on out there, and he just thinks his way through it. And I do know also playing against him fairly often in provincials is that one of my things I find striking, he makes very few strategy mistakes. They may miss the odd shot, but he never
not going to outskip him.
I say he doesn't skip sabotage. That's that you see so often, is that guys just make shots and skip themselves into trouble. But Shaun is not one of those skips.
Don't know if it's full speed in there.
Did a quick check here. Shaun is ranked 47th in the world right now, and Matty's rated number 11, number 7 in Canada. And if by chance we don't curl again till trials, they will get him a spot in trials. I don't think they hope for that in that fashion, and I think they hope to play, but that is the reality. They're 7th ranked in Canada, and that'll get those first 7 spots get the trials that will be held in Saskatoon, and there'll be 2 pre-trial spots that are open for some of the other players that have a good run going in.
Well, and that's what everybody's going for, right? I mean, the elite teams in this country, they're playing for that spot in the Olympic trials, and the roar of the rings in Saskatoon 2021, and a shot to represent this country at the Olympic Games. Hopefully, they will go ahead in 2022. But
I didn't want to overcook it.
that's the carrot. That's what they all play for now. They love the Brier. And you know you want to play for your province at the Brier, and that's all part of the. I mean, there's maybe no bigger stage certainly in Canada than the Brier, but the Olympics is just another level.
No, I think so, and I there's no question. You're right, Warren. We talk about it lots. It is about in Canada the Brier, but you talk to the fellas that have been out there, and you know, Kirk's been there 4 times, I believe. 5. I think Braden's been there 4 times. Maddie's a couple. Same with Dustin. And so, yes, it's fun. It's great. It's exciting. But I think the Olympic dream is something that is the next level.
Wrist floor? Messing around?
I mean, you talk to anybody about the goals, and I mean, and teams. And let's face it, some of the changes that are made, that were made last year, are with an eye towards the Olympic Games. You know, if you leave it too much longer, then you might as well stay with the teams that you have. So, well, that was the time when you expected to see changes. Well, they were still about a few months to go before, still over a year away before the trials and a chance to get together as a team.
Right, and I think this is a bit of my thought. And initially, when the Olympics became part of curling and became the grand prize, I guess you'd want to say, is that we see now a lot of teams talk about the 4-year cycle, and both Dunstone and Kevin Cooey this year are talking about a 2-year cycle. And there might be something said for that too, with teams and players that may not have a long shelf life. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But let's try something for 2 years. If it isn't on, and we're not finding the success we need, we're going to have to make a move. And we still have 2 years before the Olympics hit. So you actually have an opportunity to do this with a couple different teams. Well, that is not what Kirk needed, that's for sure. But I don't know if he's a little bit inside out. I would say the weights seem to be pretty close. So. And yet, from Maddie's standpoint, he's still sitting in a pretty good spot. He's got the center line open, a couple lapped corner guards, and some opportunity to work that side of the sheet.
This is Brady Sharback. And that worked out pretty well with the one yellow stone moved to the back of the 8-foot, so there's some pretty good separation now. 3 yellows in that ring, in those rings.
Yeah. And I think the second that Kirk chipped that behind those double corners, the reality probably sets in for Maddie. He'd like to probably have blanked 3-hold, hammer into the even ends, but as soon as that happens now, they're going to be playing hard for a deuce.
They're going to be able to hold this.
The heck do we play now?
Well, that blue stone does hang around in the 12-foot.
for them, it's not quite good enough in that it's third stone and allow Meachem to go around that corner. And as long as he gets around the corner partially under half, quarter in front of the tee line, he chokes that corner off for Matt. So I think it's a good opportunity for Shaun Meachem team to keep the pressure on and really take Matt out of a position where he's going to score 2 this end.
Not a huge amount of risk, yeah.
That's good. Wait. That's good, Subby. Get him here, come on. Okay, just leave it then if you're not ready. That's fine.
Sharback comes up short.
They have thrown that opportunity now for 2 back at Matty.
That should have been like a few feet more than he was throwing last game.
You can hear Brady talk about being a little stickier, and I think they might see it on this turn. It doesn't look like it's got quite the carry that it does on the in-turn side.
They want 15 on the hog, but I just don't think that's fair. I think I threw really close to 15. He's out wider though.
Hard, don't stop, come on.
Good looking stone here from Braden Biscowie as he draws the top of the 4-foot.
That really curled a lot in the last from the hog line in.
Yeah, that's good.
Guys did a good job of staying off it till that point, and a little surprised that Shaun isn't trying to hack that out. I don't. If you think about him freezing it, the rest of the 4th foot's still open. So I think if he freezes it, gets it on the corner there, I think Matt guards it, and it's going to be pretty difficult for him to get in a spot there that Matt doesn't have a chance for 2.
Shaun Meachem.
All you guys. That'll be good if you're here. No bump, no bump. Can't bump.
He didn't want to bump, but I don't think that's going to hurt him.
No,
Yeah, it's tough. I don't know if freezing is
I think if I was Matt, I'd be tempted to throw a center line guard.
How much did you have in the half?
Try to cover the yellow one totally, and where does Shaun go?
Just because it's going to be like same as the first time. They're going to be shot. They make a good one here, then we're just facing the
Mind you, the way that out turn was working, all of a sudden you wrap one around that yellow stone on the top of the 4-foot and get the back for it.
Yeah, I just we're just running into that, right? Freeze here. Their shots behind a bunch of guards. You can put this pretty much anywhere in the 4-foot and it's guaranteed to, unless you get the perfect place.
So this is a draw to the side of the button?
It is, yeah.
On tap?
My thinking on that is that he's got to get edge to edge so that he doesn't allow Shaun to roll in there. Be interesting if he goes back button. I think Shaun will face will come down and try to freeze that stone. So that's what they're looking at, edge to edge right on the tee line. So they're drawing to a pretty small target.
Line's good, all you.
I think you gotta.
Yep, you got
Looking
it.
back on it, you gotta board it.
Come on, Deuce, you can't leave it, Deuce. Come on, Deuce, go. Come on, Deucey. Come on.
Just a little rub off that top yellow stone.
Don't think that's what Matt needed. See there, Shaun. Anything he catches, you got to catch that yellow one thin, make that double on the yellow, on the blues, and the two blues should go.
Yeah, the weights are nice.
Again, not a give me. Very difficult shot. Probably gets to catch a
Good throw, Matty.
maybe an inch of that yellow one.
Yeah.
Might be able to hit it slightly fuller than that.
Final stone for Shaun Meachem here in the third. Big shot. Sarback calls off the sweepers right away.
Just
Hit that right on the beak.
we've seen that so often, Warren. When we hear that whoa right out of the hand, it just isn't going there.
Half an inch. No, you just
So,
perfect.
Matt Dunstone has his one for sure.
You just needed less ice than
Almost have that broom on the boards.
Oh, yeah.
We were edge on this and hit it. It's over this one.
Again, he went to school on that wide out turn draw coming home here on that in-turn, and he was wider out, but Braden moved him in a little bit, knowing that didn't curl last end out of there. So if I had to guess, that appears to be right ice based on the in-turn coming home on that side.
Yeah, that's fine. I think
Yeah, he's taking edge of the 12-foot for this shot. Very difficult draw, but if made, it's another 2 points.
We got the empty curl, but I was in
I think what we've seen too, Warren, is that the weight isn't much different coming from that outside. It's pretty close, so I think the guys will have a pretty good read on that if Matty can get good line on it. And
It wasn't like it was actually in the yellow and I let it go and it just never.
I didn't think it curled at all.
Braden Muscowie in the house likes the line, so it's
But I
up to the sweepers.
I looked away before the hog line because I knew that we were on nose.
Gian, you're good. Line's not an issue anymore. Clean it.
Nice shot, boy.
Boy, look at that.
that's
Oh, that's clutch.
yep.
Beautiful draw from Matt Dunstone as he finds the 4-foot just behind the D-line, picks up his deuce, and now opens up a 4-1 lead through 3 ends of play. This is the Vaderstad Saskatchewan Super Series presented by Calidon Leasing.
RenewMyPlace.com, get it out of the way. What do you say? RenewMyPlace.com. The family's making plans and they're gonna need a ride. Don't let license renewal keep you on the sidelines. Renew your plates at RenewMyPlace.com. Anytime, anywhere. Suit and tie or underwear. RenewMyPlace.com. So easy peasy lemon squeezy. RenewMyPlace.com.
He's covering everything that matters to you. It's the Rod Peterson Show. Tune in live Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. to noon to catch the show live and be a part of the action. Take control by commenting live and sharing the show with your friends.
Welcome back to the Highland Curling Club in Regina. Special welcome to our viewers all over Saskatchewan and across the country on Curling Zone. Warren Woods, Lyle Myers with you with the Saskatchewan Super Series. This is a 5-team event set up in large part by the Dunstone team, who've come to terms with who they believe are the top 5 teams in the province right now. So they played a 5-game or a little spiel here to get things going, get the season going, since there's no inter-provincial travel permitted right now because of the COVID-19 situation. These teams have gathered in Regina to play within Saskatchewan and get some meaningful games in, play for a little cash, and try and find their game for the remainder of the season. So, and it's worked out pretty well, Lyle.
Yep.
I mean, I think all things considered, the curling has been good for the first event of the season. Ice has been fantastic, and we're seeing some great shots.
Yes, I think the same thing. I think I was surprised at and sometimes you wonder if it was just the players are well rested. I think most of them, particularly the teams that play on tour, are always have nagging injuries, and none of them are facing that now. So they're coming out and they're really playing well on a really good sheet of curling ice. So I think all of those things are adding up, and I think it's a great way to start. Safety is still a big factor for everybody, so they kept it a little smaller. I mean, you could have brought in a few more teams, but they kept it to a size that they felt was very manageable, and are taking that first step towards trying to build a season here and work towards the Brier and the Olympic trials.
So Matt Dunstone now with a 4-1 lead on Shaun Meachem. Dunstone, the defending provincial champion and third-place finisher at the Brier last year, up against Meachem's rink from Saskatoon. This game means very little in terms of playoff positioning. These two have qualified for the semifinal. They will play again tomorrow morning. What this game really means is for last rock in that game. Ryan Kleider's team has clinched first place just out of junior, and losing right now, but it really doesn't matter. They're up against Cody Hartung and down 3-0, but the Kleider rink just out of junior has clinched first place and will receive the bye to the final. So in terms of playoff positioning, this game may not matter much, but last rock in the first end is an advantage, certainly in a semifinal game when the cash is on the line.
I think too. I mean, this great game is a good example of it. Both teams have played reasonably well, and Matt and the guys got a deuce off the start, and that's in many games that's difficult to come back. You have to take some chances, and even if you play well, you may not get those 2 points back. So the hammer is a big part of it, and like I say, they're playing to be 2-3 or 3-2. So.
5-rock rule, of course, and also especially when you can get that deuce in an 8-end game. That is critical. In a 10-end game, okay, there's still lots of curling, and it's not that there isn't here, but it's just there's a couple of less ends to get back into it.
I think the team I remember really that had started the deuce in the first was Kevin Martin when they were on the roll with John Morris, Kennedy, and Hebert on the front end. They scored deuces in the first end just consistently, and the number was so ridiculous how many games they had won after that. And I mean, there was more than that. They just got the deuce in the first. They were good, and but that was their signature. They went out there and they scored that, and there was just, it felt like you could play defense, you could play offense. It didn't matter. In their minds, they were going to get 2 in the first, and they did. Often starting it with hammer, particularly when there was draw to the button.
Well, this end's shaping up somewhat similar to the last one. Dunstone has shot stone for now, top of the 4-foot, and a yellow Meachem stone right on top of that. And they're all behind cover already. So.
Well, even if you make that, they're guarding all day, right?
No, I'm just kidding.
Kirk Myers, the newcomer to the rink this year, with the delivery. If you had a chance to talk to Kirk at all about just the transition from being a skip for so long and now going back to second. It's a position that he knows, obviously, but he's now going back from, calling the game to being at second, where now you're sweeping, and it's got to be a bit of an adjustment, even though it's something that he has done before.
I think so. I think he's kind of the one thing that I noticed talking to him. He kind of prides himself on the fact of playing all positions. He can play all positions. He says he's versatile. He's, I believe, like, Jeepers, it sounds terrible, but I think he's 30 years old. And
how old does that make you?
That makes me old. But it's one of those things where he may have a lot, if he chooses, he'll have a lot of years left, and there'll be some opportunities in a lot of different positions. So I think it's one of those things that I think he's going to embrace. I think he's really excited about playing with this team. I think if he senses the confidence that those guys have, and I think you'd feel that playing against them. And you can be great shot makers, but it takes something just a little bit extra. And he feels like Matt and Braden and Dustin have that little bit extra to take it to that real next level. And this is a great test for sure, but it's all about the final of the Grand Slams or playing in the Brier and sudden death games and that sort of thing. They just feel like Matt and Braden and Dustin really have embraced that and have been able to show that it doesn't matter if it's Kevin Cooey, it doesn't matter if it's John Epping. It's we're here to play, and I think we can play with them. And I think he's looking forward to that vibe that the guys give.
Well, we had an exchange of rock positions for now after the shot from Braden Stewart. Stone didn't quite leave the rings, but it is shot stone belonging to Dunstone for now.
It was a really nice shot by Braden. That certainly wanted to get rid of that one because it'll be an annoyance all end.
I always think it's easier to call.
Right on the nose, it's got the millimeter inside.
Shaun might be able to rattle that right through the post and let that yellow continue to come through. So it's got to be hit very precise, but I think there's a possibility of actually promoting those. You got to hit it just right on the nose or just a shade low. That's going to be a little low.
Okay, that didn't quite work out, so it's still Dunstone shot rock behind trio of yellow guards.
That was actually a super nice throw.
Now they're going to go after that stone that's just biting the back of the 12-foot.
That one that Matt would have loved to get in there and sweep.
Always find it's a difficult takeout, difficult shot at all, but especially a takeout when you have to go way out there, and these guys make it look routine as Braden Moskowy just sticks it back there.
I think on moving ice a little bit too deeper in the house, actually, you have to end up with a little more curl back there, so that the odd time you'll just hook over the top, and you don't have much room to roll, but that was a big shot, good shot. That'll keep the force in play likely.
Yeah, they do. Pretty hard for him. Like if you make that good, so it got there. want to open that center line off when we play high. If we want to keep all three of ours up there, you have to throw so light we wouldn't get the goal.
Yeah, you can see I think there's going to tap that straight back, and the idea of that is that they'll leave those three yellow out there that they can raise throughout the course of the end, even if it isn't shot rock. I mean, ideally they get it in for shot rock, but like the call, really like the call.
Well, he has last rock, and you're down 3.
I think
try and make something happen.
I think that's the driver in this. If it was a one rock or 1 point game, they probably would play one of the runs. But here they're trying to generate a minimum of 2 points and give themselves a chance by leaving the Yellowstones out front.
Sweepers Latos and Stewart on this one all the way down. No, it's going to over curl and rack out front.
I think he was just a little light there. You need a little more weight than that to push that to the tee line. So the unfortunate part of that shot is that they may have taken away a bunch of raises there.
Just the way
it really took off, and it might have lost some weight when it took off like that. Just to get a little smudgy.
All right, looks like Matty's decided to draw here.
Seems to have fell in love with that wide out turn draw. And he worked pretty good last end. I like the call. The one thing that I know everybody's concerned about is you make a wider target, they're going to run that yellow one in, and now they're shooting, they're trying to could hit 2 stones, but you get this one in a good spot and they don't make that, you're in for another steal.
At least a third. That's the best he can do. He can hit a third. That's the absolute best he can do. So T-line's good then. Sweep it aggressive, like back doors off the end of the way. Hit it lost.
All right, well, they were just having a secondary conversation about where to put this stone. Scowie likes the tee line, 4 foot.
I don't think that's there. Yeah, that's that.
That's good. It's pretty much where he wanted it.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
Walk it down there any better.
The crowd's going nuts for you. It's getting to be that time of the day.
It certainly doesn't look very inviting for Shaun, but Matt got by that guard by a little bit. He probably could freeze it. I don't know what you do with it after that, but
well, once again, Meachem is in a spot of bother. Last end, he had to make, I guess it was end number 2, he had to make a double raise to the 4 foot to pick up 1, and looks like he may have to make another similar shot here.
Yeah, he was facing 3 with that shot, and he's got some trouble again. Once again, I like the call. I like the way Shaun's thinking about this. You make it. Maybe it doesn't spill. It doesn't get behind a guard or anything like that, but you open it up a little bit. So get a good eye for a good shot.
Gotta go. All the way.
So we're curling, I think, a little on him, yeah.
It's never out of time. A little snug, and you guys were holding a good bit of curl quite a bit.
All right, well, Dunstone now after that is a chance to choke off the 4-foot here and put one right at the top of the 12.
Yeah, he gets it in this in a good spot. Shaun's going to be tapping to the 4-foot again. Probably playing a raise this time.
All right, you're going to have your pick of the litter. Which one do you want to tap? You're probably going to have to tap that one, actually, because he's probably going to be somewhere in there. You had quite a bit of weight on your tap.
More than what you can.
Yeah. Yeah, you had that grace. For sure. I was just making sure you know it. Yeah. I'm not even tapping the weight. I like Sam.
All right, well, there's the call.
That's the spot.
Top 12-foot. And on the center line, or on the...
So, same amount of ice with the out-turn.
And you know, that really leaves one shot. You can see there that out-turn run back for Shaun, and if he makes it and sticks it, he gets one, and if he doesn't... well,
they're already talking about, you can hear them in the background talking, they're already thinking ahead to
super heavy
put Stone to play, and they know what's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Dunstone in his final stone here in the 4th end.
I'm not even kidding. I got hot feet right now.
Have to try and play the wick here.
Takes away the hole. Doesn't really change much. The only difference is he's shooting against 3 instead of 4.
Just tap that one up. I got to give you a little less weight than I did on that other tap. Just because that was 2 rocks.
Okay, so this is a straight tap.
Let him know the weight though, so that just in case it's a little heavier, something we need to make it.
Or not a straight back.
He could come onto he could come onto the blue on this time, but I had a laugh. Just not quite as much as my double tap to the. He said now I'm only moving 1 stone. As he's putting that into the equation along with line. To get shot rock in this, you have to tip your hat to him. That's for sure.
Well, he came through with a game saver in end number 2. Let's see if he can do the same thing here. Final stone of the 4th on the way.
You gotta go. You have to go.
Well, this one might be curling on him. This could be trouble.
No.
Yeah. Light and 2. Well, he managed to get one in there to cut them down at least, but it's still going to be a steal of 2 for Matt Dunstone, who breaks this game open. Now has the 6-1 lead after 4 ends of play. Oh, they've decided, I think, are they going to go? I guess they are. Okay. They were raising their brooms, so we thought that they might decide to pack it in there, but they're going to play one more. So we'll take a break and be back with more here at the Vaderstad Saskatchewan Super Series from the Highland Curling Club. All right, welcome back to the Highland Curling Club in Regina. We thought the Shaun Meachem might play one more end, but after further discussion, it's over.
I could get that, and I think they realize they got to be out there again early tomorrow. Things aren't going your way. Let's call her a night, and we'll come back and do this again tomorrow.
All right, so it goes in the books as a 6-1 victory for Matt Dunstone. So Dunstone will finish second in this series with a 3-1 record.
Yep.
And Shaun Meachem drops to 2-2. So they will battle it out in a semifinal tomorrow, and the winner will play Ryan Kleider in the final. So for Lyle Myers, I'm Warren Woods. Thank you very much for joining us here at the Highland Curling Club in Regina, the Vaderstad Saskatchewan Super Series, presented by Calidon Leasing. Talk to you soon.